there, this is Chris Maddox from the Wild Woman Project. And I'm speaking to you today as I always speak to you on the new moon. First, because the new moon time is an excellent time to do like the moon does. And what the moon does when it's new is it hides back behind the sky. We cannot see it from Earth. So in that way, we're sort of energetically supported at new moon time to draw back a bit, to go in, to pay less attention on how we're expressing in the world or communicating with the outside world, but taking that time to go inward. And there's enough going on in the inner world. We could hang out there for a while. So at the new moon time, we drop in. And in that dropping in, there's clarity that can be had. And if you look at the moon cycle, as we do at the Wild Woman Project, looking at the moon cycle like a mirror of the creative cycle, the new moon is the beginning. It's the intention, it's the spark. So that's one reason that the new moon time is so important and potent, and why I'm always making these videos for you. And the second is I want to introduce a theme for the month. And this is a theme that we use in Wild Woman Circles. And if you're not familiar, Wild Woman Circles are happening each month around new moon time in local communities across the United States, Canada, now in the Caribbean and Australia, and soon to be in Europe. So when we are gathering in our Wild Woman Circles, we have a theme. And with that theme, it becomes like our major focus. And it's usually quite specific, and it's usually inspired. I should say it's always inspired by the astrological placement of that new moon. So our theme for this new moon in Cancer is nurturing our emotional lives. So Cancer is a water sign. It's naturally very sensitive, very emotional. It's ruled by the moon, so it's very nice. The moon will be at home in the sign of Cancer, which is beautiful. And you can focus on a multitude of things at any new moon time, and we just get very specific in circles, so that with our theme there is an introduction, there is a meditation, there is a ritual, so that we can take this idea, which in this case this month is, how can I nurture my emotional life? Am I nurturing my emotional life? What does that mean? What does that look like? And we can go really deep and really specific. So with this theme, emotions, nurturing our emotional life is something I think is so important, especially for women, because for so long, emotions have been sort of stigmatized. It's been like, oh, well, she's emotional. Oh, is she on her period? Oh, this thing. And our emotions and our emotional life has been largely viewed with judgment. And I think that that's dangerous. The emotional layer of being is a piece of the puzzle. And there's a lot to be learned and understood by the emotional impulses in the body. If you look at the yogic system of koshas, all the layers of self, almost you can think of them like little Russian dolls. And there is a layer of self, which is the mental layer, the emotional layer, the energetic, the physical, the soul, right? So you have, it's not like the emotional layer is the whole picture, but it's certainly part of it. So when we make time in our own ways to actually listen to our emotions and to allow them, I mean, very often we have emotion that wants to come through and we're like, can't deal with that right now, can't deal with that right now. And and we just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it away, and there may be some value in letting that emotion actually come through. Maybe there's something to be learned, um, eh, and we can learn from this element of water, right? Which is the Cancer is a water sign, right? Is to let it flow, because I think that there's maybe a collective fear that if we experience an emotion that is maybe difficult, then it's never going to stop. Like if we feel that grief, then I'll open the wound and I'll never stop. And I believe, and I am not the only one, I believe that if we allow the emotion, then it shifts. You're not going to stay in grief forever, but maybe that grief needs to be had. So there are many, we're going to be looking in circle and really dropping in and asking, like, am I making space for my emotional life? And that emotion could be grief or joy, it could be anger, it could be excitement. You know, the whole emotional palette, it's vast. And when we start blocking out certain emotions, the whole system gets shut down, and suddenly we're walking around and maybe we're way more in our mental body and we don't get the opportunity to experience our emotional life. And I think, especially for women, understanding, allowing our emotional life, it's a major part of our inner intelligence. So, if you come to Circle, when you come to Circle, you'll be sort of really guided through a journey into understanding your relationship to your emotional life, and perhaps creating some intentions and some practical, quite grounded things that you can do in your life to allow and nurture the emotional layer of being. And so I think it's going to be a really beautiful, a really sweet circle. So I hope that you can make it. If you cannot make it, I'm going to put a link underneath this video to the New Moon Report. And there'll be some exercises in there and some reading materials, etc., that could support you at this time if you need to go solo in your new moon exploration this month. So I hope this was useful. Maybe honor and nurture and love and accept our emotional lives, because they're there. They're happening. Okay, so in one moon from now, we will be gathering on a mountaintop for the Wild Woman Fest. And it'll be on the new moon in Leo, and we'll be looking really deeply at unleashing our creativity. It's 4 days, workshops, classes, wilderness, camping, our cabins, delicious food, amazing teachers, amazing women. So you can go to wildwomanfest.com to find out more about that. And all right, I'll talk to you next month.